Hi, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Good
sir.
sir.
morning,
Morning,
sir.
sir.
Good morning,
Good to,
sir.
good to see
Good
you
morning, sir.
people. Good morning. So I hope you can hear me properly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we are under
Yes,
lockdown
sir.
today, so I'm conducting this from home. So just want to make sure. Okay, I think still people joining us. I think only 25 people, including me. So uh, by the time the others join us, can I quickly have a quick introduction from each one of you? Abhinav, we start. Go to your the people tab and then see alphabetically all the names appear. So can you quickly tell me where you're from and what's your graduation stream? Quickly, and tomorrow maybe I'll ask you for a longer description about yourself. So as of now, just tell me where you're from and your graduation stream quickly. Abhinav.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. I'm
Morning.
Abhinav. I'm from Indore. I did my graduation from ITM University, Raipur in BTech Civil Engineering.
Civil engineering. Okay, fine. Next is Abhishek.
Sir, I'm from Visakhapatnam and I'm a BCom graduate.
Uh, okay, Visakhapatnam. And then Aditya. Aditya, can I have?
Good morning,
Yeah,
sir. I'm from Kolkata. I'm from Kolkata and BCom graduate.
become okay. Ankita.
Yeah, good morning, sir. This is Ankita. I'm from Bhopal.
Mhm.
I have pursued BCom.
Okay. Ashish. Ashish.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, I am from Guwahati, Assam. I did my graduation in English honors with minors in economics from Ferguson College, Pune.
Okay. So you're right now in Pune or Assam?
Sir, Guwahati, Assam.
Yeah. No. Currently you're in Assam. How's the situation there? I mean, there's a lot of flood things happening
Yeah,
there.
it's floods. Actually, we are facing floods, and also this corona issue is increasing. The number of
Uh-huh.
casualties also increasing every day, sir.
Uh-huh. What are the rains? Are they under control or still raining?
It's not raining, sir, right now, but in the after in the evening it rains, sir.
Okay. 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 Bala. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'm from born and brought up in Chennai. I did my graduation in BCom from Chennai as well.
Okay. Okay. And what was your stream? Graduation stream?
BCom, sir. Commerce with
BCom. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Chinmay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Where are you from and what's your graduation stream? If you can quickly.
Sir, I am from Bhopal and I'm an IT engineer.
Okay. Uh, Gaurav. Gaurav Tiwari.
Yes, sir. I'm from Nagpur and I'm mechanical.
I didn't get the second part of your this thing.
I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm
Okay.
from
Okay. Okay. Himanshu.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am from Ahmedabad, born in Patna. Technically, I am from Bihar, but I am living in Ahmedabad. I have done my graduation in automobile engineering and was working in Cummins Fulton for
Okay.
past 1 year.
Okay. Great. Maulik.
Good morning, sir. I'm Alex. I've done my BE from electrical engineering, and I'm from Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Palak.
Hello, sir.
Palak, are you in? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead.
sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I have done my BCom honors from Delhi University, and I'm born and brought up in Delhi.
Okay. Okay. Pooja.
Good morning, sir. I'm from Bhilai, Chhattisgarh, and I've done BCom and also post-graduation diploma in computer applications.
Okay. And next is Prachi.
So I am born and brought up in Udaipur and I am BCom graduate from MLSC.
Okay. Preetham.
Uh, so can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Sir, I live in New Delhi. I have done my graduation in BSc Honors Botany from Delhi University and did my post-graduation diploma in journalism from Indian Institute of Mass Communication.
Okay. Priya.
Good morning, sir. I'm from Delhi
Right.
and
Okay.
I did my graduation from BCom from IP University.
Okay. Radhika.
Good morning, sir. I'm from Indore. I did my graduation in pharmacy.
Okay, so 3 people from Indore so far, right? Some Bhopal, a couple of from Delhi, Visakhapatnam, Chennai. Okay. Rimzim?
Good morning, sir. I'm from Nagpur and I did my graduation in BBA.
BB. Sanya?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Sanya, go ahead.
Sir, I'm a BBA graduate from Indore.
Indore. Okay. So another person from Indore. Sarthak?
Good morning, sir. I'm Sarthak Gupta, and I live in Jhansi, and I've completed my graduation BCom honors from Indore, Prestige Indore.
Okay. Okay. Next is Shefali.
Good morning, sir. I'm from Belgaum and I've pursued BCom.
BCom.
Yes.
The Shreya.
Sir, I'm a BBA graduate from Raipur.
Right. Shruti.
Good morning, sir. Shruti. So I'm from Usmanabad, Maharashtra, and I'm done my graduation in BSc Botany in Pune.
Okay. Shubham.
Yes, good morning, sir. I'm Shubham from Bokaro Steel City, and I have done my graduation in BCom from St. Xavier's, Ranchi.
Okay. Shubham Tomar.
Good morning, sir. I'm from Bhopal, nearby Bhopal, I can say, or I have done my bachelor's in pharmacy.
Okay.
From People's University, Bhopal.
Okay. Simran.
Good morning, sir. I'm from Odisha and I have done my graduation in mechanical engineering.
Oh, okay. The other Simran, I thought Simran Mohanty just introduced. Simran Hora, can I have a quick introduction from you?
Good morning, sir. I'm from Raipur and I have done BBA.
Okay. Sneha Shekhar.
Good morning, sir. I am from Bhopal and I have done my BCom honors.
Okay. Sohila.
Good morning, sir. I am from Bhopal. I've done my BBA from Bhopal in 2017.
Okay. Okay. Been working somewhere in between?
Yes, I was working in my family business and then I was working in few NGOs and I was into public speaking after that.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Very good. We'll need you tomorrow because we're starting with the communications course tomorrow. So maybe we'll get back to you on that. Okay. Tasneem. Tasneem, are you there? Yeah. Can I have a quick introduction? Tasneem, I can't hear you. Venkat.
Hi, sir. I'm from Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
I completed my BBA and currently I am working on a business and it's been running for 3 years.
Okay. 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 Anybody who joined in between? We started with our introduction with your the place that you belong to and your graduation stream. Anybody who wants to add in? I think we started with 29 people and now it's 36. So 7 people would have joined by now. So whoever is not introduced, can you quickly introduce yourself to me? Quickly.
Good morning, sir. Abhilash here.
Yeah, Abhilash, tell me.
Yes, sir. I have completed my graduation in mechanical engineering, and I'm from Nagpur. And
okay. Okay, great, great. Okay, others, I leave it to you. Since you're not coming in, fine. I'll begin with my session today. I think till this morning I had about I don't know, about 20 people who would have accepted my invitation yesterday night, and some of you would have gone through the video which was put up to give an overview in terms of what we are going to cover in general, the whole course, and then we talked about this module 1, right? And others who have not really gone through, I would request you to go through that. You'll get some kind of perspective in terms of what all we are going to cover in this particular course, right? And right now what we're going to do is we're going to start with module number 1. In the beginning, we'll probably go a little slow so that you get a grounding in terms of what marketing is about. Now, in the video I had mentioned that as consumers, we intuitively understand marketing, right? All of us are consumers, so we understand what marketing is and how marketing really influences us as consumers. So now what we're going to look at in this course is from the marketer's side. And since all of you are going to, or most of you, or some of you are going to find a job in a marketing company, so you would have to look at from the company's perspective. So this is what we're going to study here. We'll also look at consumer perspective later on in terms of understanding consumer behavior. Of course, you also will get an idea in terms of how do you analyze your behavior. Why do you behave in a certain way? And what do you learn? So for example, if you switch sides and you look at from the marketer's perspective, what is it that if you are to analyze your own behavior, what you should be doing to influence that behavior? So that's what we are going to look at. And towards the end of this session, I'll give you a couple of assignments to help you ground yourself a little more in terms of what are the things that we can look at as far as marketing is concerned, right? So I'll just start off with my presentation right now. And before I forget, tomorrow morning, again, we are meeting for business communication. I would also be handling that course. Now, today we just had a preliminary introduction in terms of your, place that you come from and the graduation stream. Tomorrow, I would expect all of you to at least spend 60 seconds to 90 seconds to introduce yourself and a little more detail. That's the first part of communication. We'll also cover how do you really introduce yourself. That's part of the course. So I'll also be send you the invitation for that classroom today, and you go through the first video and see what all we're going to cover and so on in the first module. So tomorrow, first 90 seconds, each one of you will take 90 seconds to introduce it. It's a little more detailed, right? So that is tomorrow, before I forget. Okay, so let's get on with this session today. And let me quickly switch off to the presentation mode. Just confirm when it comes up. So are you able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
My screen is visible. Yeah, just hang on. Let me move on to the presentation mode. Right. So in this session, what we're going to do is we'll try and understand what is marketing. I mean, all of us have some idea in terms of what is marketing. Now, some of you may feel, okay, marketing is about selling. Some of you may feel, okay, marketing is about advertising. Some of you may think about marketing as a sales promotion and so on. So there are many things about marketing. So we'll try and kind of have some kind of understanding about what is marketing. We'll try and define marketing, and few things that we need to know about issues related to marketing is what we're going to explore in this particular session. Now, before we really define marketing, let me try and find out from you, why do you think marketing is important? I'll of course give you the answer in a while, or maybe I'll put up my views in terms of why marketing is important. If anybody can volunteer and tell me why is marketing important?
Sir, it is the way of promoting your products to the way to attract the customers, so you can get more and more profit.
Okay.
So marketing is important because it tells about the needs of the customers and how can we make a product so that we can deliver what they want.
Okay, so both of your, this thing is more about defining what is marketing. I'm talking about why is it important? The first definition that I got was, okay, it helps in promoting a product, is fine. And second one, you said, understand their needs. So understanding needs is typically you're trying to define what marketing is. Now, understanding how does it really help? And how does it really emphasize the importance of marketing? So whose perspective are you really looking at? First, let us define. Whose perspective are you looking at? Are you looking at from the company's perspective or from the society's or users' perspective, customers' perspective? So keep that in mind and then tell me why marketing is important.
Sir, can I try?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So marketing from the company's perspective would be to build a relationship with their consumers, get to know what the consumers want, and then sell to them in a way that they would find attractive and they would feel satisfied at the end of the day.
Right. Fantastic. Right. So that's what marketing is. Yeah.
So this is Sarthak.
Yes,
I find the marketing is important because it creates a medium to reach out to customers,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and definitely build the relationships
Right.
from the way of brand itself and the customer itself.
Right. Okay. Anybody
So
else?
may I?
Yeah, please.
So may I?
So marketing will help
Yeah. Okay.
with,
I'll take two of you. Yeah. Go ahead. Two of you, if you can.
so marketing will help in future decision making as per the recent trend that we'll have, and also for employment generation maybe.
Okay, that's fantastic. One of the points, yeah, I was about to tell you is yes, employment generation, society. That's a long-term perspective that marketing really has. Yeah. Yeah. Next one. You wanted to?
Yes, sir. Marketing is to communicate with the customers and maintain a loyal customer base to retain the customers, not just get them, but to retain them in the long run.
Okay, that's more of a relationship orientation to marketing that you're talking about. Some of your friends have already talked about. So now let me give you what I think is the importance of marketing. The first one, of course, it plays a key role in addressing the challenges faced by companies operating in a highly competitive economic environment, right? So today's environment is highly competitive. There are a lot of players in the marketplace. So if you really do not have marketing or a well-defined strategy as far as marketing is concerned, you'd find very difficult to really compete in that marketplace, right? So that's one of the importance of marketing. So marketing is one of the ways that you distinguish yourself from the competition or your products from competition, so that you're effectively able to sell your products and make profit. But obviously, marketing is, if you really want to have healthy bottom line, there is need to have a reasonable top line. I hope you understand between bottom line and top line. Top line is typically about revenues. Bottom line is about profits. So the whole purpose of a firm's existence is to make profits, right? That's what commercial organizations really do. Even non-commercial organizations typically need to earn sufficient revenues to meet their cost requirements, even if they're not looking at making profits, right? So in order to have a healthy bottom line, you should have a reasonable top line, and that's where marketing comes in. So marketing really facilitates, as many of you have said, that it's one of the ways of building relationship, getting businesses, making sure that you consumers accept your products, and so on. So everything is kind of aligned towards getting a reasonable top line or getting your revenues so that you make enough profit. The third point is marketing helps introduction of products which make life easier for consumers and help gain acceptance of these products. I will, highlight the example of Uber we talked about. How has it made? How has the introduction of services by Uber or Ola really helped consumers like you in terms of making it a little easier, your life a little easier? And I would also talk about another company like Airbnb. You have heard of Airbnb? Some of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what does Airbnb do? They are typically competing with the hotels, right? And
yes,
a homestay which replaces a traditional hotel. Now, many consumers typically do not want to spend a lot of money. They want to take holidays, they want to visit different places, but they're more comfortable in terms of staying in a home environment, number one. Also, they want to look at maybe more economic options as far as staying is concerned. So Airbnb kind of a company came in with introducing a service which typically makes life easier for customers, and so that they can get value that they really seek from these kind of services. Now, of course, these kind of services, before they really came in, the need was already there, but there was nobody who really thought about this need and come out with a particular service option. And when we come in this session later, when I talk about the different kinds of need, you'll be able to appreciate a little more in terms of why is it important for us to understand something called a latent need, which is already there, but there's no product which is there to satisfy. So tomorrow, if some of you want to become entrepreneurs, for example, so in that case, you would your understanding of latent needs would help you to conceive a product and develop a product and market them later on. Or even if you join a company and if you're in charge of new product development, you can think of these kind of things as you go along. That's one of the major contributions that marketing really makes in terms of introducing products, which makes life easier for customers. And then, of course, one of you pointed out that successful marketing creates demands and creates leads to more production, creation of jobs. That's what marketing really contributes to society. So it's a cycle kind of thing. More products that consumers buy, that leads to more entrepreneurs setting up production units, more demand, and then that leads to creation of jobs, and so the entire society really benefits. And once you create jobs, people have more money to spend, and that adds on to the demand, and so on. This whole cycle goes on, and that's one of the major contributions that marketing really makes to society. Right. So in the next slide, we'll try and define what is marketing, and before that, we'll see where does it really fit in. So definition of marketing typically fits under the scope of marketing. So under scope of marketing, we're going to look at three things. One is what is marketing? That's definition. What is marketed? Now, I'll come back when we talk about it. Most of us understand when we have to answer this question, what is marketed? The two things that would come to our mind is product and a service. But then you would probably explore as we go along in this session that there's something more beyond products and services. There are many things which are actually being marketed, which we do not possibly realize. So we'll see there are many things which can be marketed apart from products, physical products and services per se. And then we'll also try and answer who markets. I mean, we'll try and define who markets and to whom and so on. So this is what we'll cover under the scope of marketing. So next we'll move on to what is the definition of marketing. Now, broadly, if you see, a very simple definition is marketing is about identifying and meeting human and social needs. A couple of answers that I got today talked about understanding human needs, and that's what marketing is. That's probably where marketing really starts from. So identifying human needs. So in addition to human needs, also there's something called social needs. I'll come back to the social needs, why marketing is important to identify social needs. There are a lot of activities, for example, marketing activities need to consider the social needs. For example, you may be aware of this campaign like organ donation. Now, there are companies, or say for example, heart or eye bank. If you look at eye banks, they advertise you should donate your eyes and so on. Now, typically, those kind of things are marketed. Those ideas are marketed, typically aimed at the social needs, meeting the social needs of or needs of society. That's what typically is. So marketing is not only about identifying the needs of humans, it would also be identifying needs of society as a whole. Now, marketing is, of course, much more than selling. All of us realize it by now. So whatever little discussion that we had, we'll also see later on why we are talking more, talking about marketing as being more than selling. Of course, when you talk about marketing, starts with identifying of needs. Sales come much later in the cycle. So once you understand the needs, you develop your products, and then create some kind of value, distribute them, and then probably during the process of distribution, the sales would probably fit in or come in here as far as marketing is concerned. Okay, so now let us look at two definitions of marketing. One is the one which is given by the American Marketing Association. So just go through this. So if you look at this definition, there are three entities which are highlighted, or three activities, or entities and activities which are highlighted in the first line, which says it's an activity, is a set of institutions and processes. So marketing typically comprises these three things for something, for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging. So these are the four primary things that marketing really does. So all the activities related to this, creating, communicating, delivering, exchanging, all the set of institutions related to these four, and all the processes related to these four, which create offerings and that have value for customers, clients, and partners, society at large. So they're all engaged in these four key activities. So I'll relate to all of them when we talk about the 4 Ps. So 4 Ps are typically related to all these: creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging. For example, communicating, one of the Ps is promotion. So that's part of the communicating. Delivering is, a place, which is distribution. So that's delivering, and so on. So this particular definition encompasses all the activities, processes, and institutions which are associated with marketing. So that's the definition given by American Marketing Association. We'll also look at another definition, which is more of a social definition of marketing, because we talked about social needs in the first one, which is given by Kotler, Keller, and this particular book is mentioned. Now, typically, Kotler's definition of marketing, it talks about marketing as a societal process. Now, the principal thing which it is highlighting is marketing is not a process which is only restricted to benefit the organization which is involved in marketing alone. It's more of a societal process, but because it has impact on every other aspects of society, right? By which individuals and groups obtain what they need and want through creating, offering, and freely exchanging. Again, if you compare these two definitions of creating, exchanging are common. The offering, of course, in the first definition, you see communicating and delivering separately there. Here it's offering. So typically, this definition also encompasses all those 4 things that we talked about in the earlier definition. Now, in this case also, we are talking about it's a societal process where people obtain what they need and want. So we also need to define what is a need and want. That's what we will do a little later. So what's the difference between need, what is a want, and what is a demand, and so on. And another important thing is in both these definitions, there's something called value. And we have different conceptualizations or understanding of value. We'll try and explore what value is, and so on. So I hope you've got the essence of what we understand by marketing in general. So as we go along, we'll try and explore this whole subject in greater detail by breaking down or looking at each of the components. For example, activity or set of institutions or processes or creating, communicating, and so on. So this whole course, we're going to look at each of these words or phrases which are there in greater detail. Okay, so I would now expect some answers from you. So what is marketed? As I said, one is, of course, goods, right? You're familiar with these goods. Anybody has seen the third one and the third picture? Anybody has seen that particular machine which is there? Yeah?
Information.
Forklift truck.
Yeah, forklift. Third one is a forklift truck. Yes, that's an industrial product. So when you're talking about marketing, it could be a consumer durables, which are on the left-hand side. You've got television and a bike, and then you have got cosmetics on the right side, consumer goods, and you could also have an industrial product like a forklift truck. Second is services. So all of us know about airlines, we know about hotel, we know about hairdresser services, doctors, and so on. Now, apart from goods and services, can anyone tell me what else are marketed?
Events.
So it can be information.
Information, okay. I'll take down information.
Events.
Insurance. An experience.
Insurance is a service. So insurance service, experience, okay.
So can we include properties and goods, or it's a different?
Yeah, properties and goods, fantastic. No, properties could be, again, I'll come back. Property. Goods, if you look at goods will of course go into this category, first category that we talked about. Properties, I'll come back. Okay, that requires a different kinds of marketing. Anything else?
Events.
Yeah, events. Okay, so what are events? Already told. Information, events, experience, properties. 4. Anything else? Ideas. Okay. Anything else? People. Okay. Just testing. How many of you actually gone through the video? Right, so some of these things were mentioned there. Okay, let me come back. So let us go ahead and see how what are the other things. Events. Yes, you talked about events. So there are some examples which are given here. Oscars, Academy Awards in the United States, so which is Oscars, Femina, Miss India. You've got T20, World Cup. All these things can be need to be marketed. All these events, right? And the Auto Expo on the right side. Experiences, SL World. What do they sell? They only sell experiences. Kingdom of Dreams. Some people who come from Delhi NCR would know what it is all about. And some of you from other parts of the country who have gone to the Kingdom of Dreams, there's different kinds of experience that you can really have. Okay, apart from this, there are persons. There are specific agencies who actually market these artists, musicians, and maybe celebrities, right? Celebrity endorsement companies are all there. So, for example, a particular musician is conducting an event in a particular area, so that has to be marketed, right? So a show has to be marketed, and so the person. So that's in that case, what you're doing is you're actually promoting a person. It could be an artist or a musician, and so on. For example, you have a art show in an art gallery. You're putting up an exhibition of your art, so you need to promote that event and the artist. So that's people. So even politicians, for example, during elections, what are you doing? You're typically marketing persons. Of course, the party is one thing. The other thing is, most of the times, what you're doing is you're trying to promote a typical person, and you're trying to market a person. Places, this is what you missed out. Many of you did not, or none of you actually talked about places. They can also be marketed. Cities, states, nations, tourism, for example. In Incredible India was a great, promotional campaign that was run. State in Gujarat, Gujarat tourism. Amitabh Bachchan came in with a lot of these advertisements. Yeah. Then we talk about residence, Sahara City or Ambi Valley, these kind of places were typically promoted, or even states can promote themselves as an investment destination. For example, for India, for promoting India as a favorable destination, there are investment summit, India investment summits, or the state investment summit. So even places can be really marketed and promoted. Yes, properties. Somebody mentioned about properties. So the real estate, for example, or financial investment companies, these are part of the properties which also needs to be marketed, in terms of so that people can buy real estate or sell real estate and so on. I'll come back to different example when you're talking about meta markets and where does companies like Magic Bricks really fit in. So they also play a role in terms of facilitating the whole marketing process. Even organizations can be marketed. Say Tata, for example, Tata Group as a whole. So if you look at some of these Tata corporate advertisement, they don't talk about products. They talk about how much difference really Tatas really make to wherever their factories are. So they, how much do they contribute to society? So that's one way of promoting organizations. Or Amul talking about this entire cooperative movement, how they make the difference in the lives of people in villages in India, in Gujarat and elsewhere, and how they have really built up a particular company on that basis. Or UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. So they may also need to promote themselves by saying what contributions are they making to lives of children. So even UNICEF is a non-profit organization. They need some kind of promotion. So organizations also need to be marketed. Information, some people, one of you talked about information. Yes, information, research reports or databases like Dun & Bradstreet or Nielsen's, they also need to promote themselves. Ideas, yes, you said ideas. So for example, HIV/AIDS awareness, family planning, anti-smoking, blood organ donation, or polio vaccination. So all these ideas also need to be marketed. So we have now looked at, so far we have looked at what is marketing. We try to define marketing and then said what is marketed. Now let us look at who markets, right? So marketer is someone, it could be anyone who seeks a response. It could be an attention, a purchase, a vote, a donation, etc. from another party. So what marketers are typically trying to see is they're trying to get a response. So for example, I'm trying to promote a product. What could be the response? The response would be consumers buying my products. That's what the response I'm really looking at, right? So anybody, so that's a marketer. So marketer could be a government. A marketer could be a company selling physical products. It could be a company which is selling services. It could be an NGO which is trying to get some kind of donations from you. and so on. So a marketer could be anybody who's seeking a response from another party. So who's that another party? The prospect. The party which responds to the efforts of the marketer is a prospect. So typically what happens is marketers tries to reach out to a prospect, and those are the prospects who respond to the efforts of the marketer. Now, what typically happens here is a marketer tries to stimulate the demand and are responsible for demand management. A lot of time what may happen is marketer comes with a product which had no precedent. How many of you have seen Walkman? Probably Walkman precedes many of your, it is probably died much before you people were born. So any of you have seen a Walkman?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I've used it, sir.
Yes, sir.
You've used it? Okay, maybe your parents, from your parents. And so Walkman was first, Walkman was first introduced by Sony, right? And before it came in, nobody knew that their product could really come in. And there's a story which goes like this. I don't know how much, I can't testify the veracity of this story, but it says that, the Akio Morita, who is the founder of Sony, enjoyed his game of tennis, and he told his engineers that, why don't you develop a product where I can enjoy my music as well as my tennis? And that's how Walkman really came in, so that you could listen to a personalized music. So when a product like Walkman first came in, there was no precedence. Nobody knew how that the need really existed for that, till the time Akio Morita really verbalized his need, and somebody tangibilized the need into a product. Now, in those kind of situation, stimulating demand could be really challenging. Or some cases, the demand could be, people may actually lap it up so much that the company would not be in a position to really meet the demand. And that's exactly what happened when iPod was launched by Apple. Now, iPod is probably a more sophisticated version of Walkman, right? Your digitized music, and same concept that you have in Walkman. You have to carry those cassettes, or maybe a Discman later, which came in, which you had a CD to replace a cassette, but then there was a more bulky. So what Apple said, okay, let me make a very small iPod, and then in the iPod I can put in more music, what possibly a cassette or a CD can really hold. So I can have thousands of music digitized music and put in. So when they came in with that product, they could not anticipate that there's sudden surge in demand in the marketplace. And then for a long period of time, the product was not available, when they launched it, and the plan that they had, and the demand was so much that they ran out of products, and it took a long time to really catch up with the demand. So although marketers can stimulate demand, sometimes they may face this kind of situation. It may also happen that marketer may overestimate the demand, and they bring a product, and then there are no takers in the marketplace, and they may have to probably drop that particular product. And that's typically what happens in marketing. Many products which are launched they're not successful in the end. So a lot of product failures happen, and very few products really survive and get established themselves. There are a lot of other products which fall by the wayside and so on. So for example, if you I don't know how many of you have heard about vacuumizers. Have you heard of vacuumizers?
No, sir.
No.
Yeah, so this was a product which was introduced several decades back, 2-3 decades back. So vacuumizers were typical containers where you could put your material and then suck out the air out of that particular vacuumizer. So what happens if there's no air inside and there's a vacuum? So your whatever food that you have inside, it does not come in contact with natural air, so it doesn't really decay as fast as you would expect it to decay. So those products actually came before its time. So many of these products, companies, they introduce those products before its time, in the sense that consumers really did not know what to do. One, of course, the price of the products were high, although the benefits, was clearly established, or people could understand the benefit. Price was high, and then there were no takers in terms of people thought it was too advanced technology to really adopt that product, and the product really didn't catch up, and the company had to stop production of vacuumizers. So all these things can happen despite the best efforts of marketers to stimulate demand. There are many kind of situations marketers can really face. Okay, now staying with the demand, let me try and define some of these states of demand. The first is the negative demand. If you look at this definition, it says customers dislike the product and may even pay to avoid it. Can you give me an example? That generally doesn't happen in a country of 1.3 billion. There's no product where they should have a negative demand, really, right? Somebody would be there to.
So TikTok, the latest example.
Advertisement.
Now it's the latest.
Yeah, maybe because of the nationalistic flavor that we had post whatever happened in Galwan Valley. Maybe that could be one. So you would dislike and maybe even pay to avoid it. Possible. Anything else?
Advertisement in applications.
Applications, okay, right. So you would actually pay to ad free use of apps. Yes, many of you do that. So that's a negative demand. Fine. So there are examples, but there are not many examples which are there where demand is really negative. But still there are some. So the second state of demand is non-existent demand, where customers may be unaware of or uninterested in a product. So there could be some products where we do not know that a product exists, or we are not really interested in the product. So even if the product is there, there's no demand in the marketplace. As I talked about this vacuumizer example, there's a non-existent demand. Most of the people who are not unaware, some of the people who are aware of it, they are not interested. So if that is the situation, as a marketer, I have really nothing to do, right? The first case and second case, as a marketer, there are no chance for me to really be able to be successful in this particular scenario. The third is important, right? Which is latent demand. Consumers may share a strong need and cannot be satisfied by an existing product. So iPod that I was talking about typically identify that there's a latent demand from people who want to enjoy their music but don't want to carry a bulky music player around, and also do not want to disturb people around. So they want to have more personalized music. So there was a latent demand, and that's why they brought in their product. Same with, say, Airbnb or Uber. So there was a latent demand. It was already there, but no products were there to meet that particular demand. So latent demand is something which are the ones which gives you a lot of opportunities to really operate in that particular space. As a marketer, can you think of a product or service to cater to that latent demand? So suddenly, if you are the first mover in that particular space, you may see a lot of revenues coming in from the customers because you are meeting the latent demand of the customer. Then you have declining demand. So consumers begin to buy the product less frequently and not at all. Can anyone give me an example of a product where the demand is really declining?
So like CD players.
Okay, CD players. Yeah, nobody really buys CD players. Your mobile is good enough. After a point in time, probably nobody will buy a computer or a laptop.
iPod.
Mobile. Yeah. Could you repeat?
iPods, sir. iPods.
Okay. Okay. The demand is going down because mobile again.
Yeah, even I guess Apple has discontinued the new iPod.
Yes, because the Apple iPhone itself is doubles up as a iPod, right? So that's what typically happens. Okay. The next state of demand is irregular demand, where consumer purchases vary on seasonal, monthly, weekly, or daily basis. So many of you are aware of these kind of products. For example, umbrellas or woolens, or they could have irregular seasonal demand. Of course, it's seasonal. There could also be a product with very irregular demand. For example, if you see sanitizers, none of us really thought about buying a sanitizer earlier, or the number of proportion of people who are buying sanitizer are very, very few. And suddenly the pandemic came in and there was a sudden surge in the demand, right? So irregular demand. So that's what happened. When the demand went up, most of the companies were not prepared for those kind of demand, or PPE equipments or those kind of things. The demands are very irregular. Only they may increase, or they may see spikes when something like this happen, or some kind of epidemic really hits in. Otherwise, the demand is not regular. So it's an irregular demand. Scenarios may also exist. Okay, there could be other scenarios like full demand, where consumers are adequately buying all the products put in the marketplace. So whatever is coming into the market, consumers are buying adequately. There could be also over full demand. So that example right now, that example that I gave about sanitizer right now is facing the over full demand. More consumer would like to buy the product than can be satisfied, in the sense that more and more people are looking out for face masks or sanitizers. So overfull demand. So whatever is available in the market, more and more people want to buy more than what is available, and so on. And the last one is unwholesome demand. Consumers may be attracted to products that have undesirable social consequences. Now, any example? Can you give me some example apart from smoking? Yeah.
Can it be guns and ammunition?
Yeah, guns and ammunition. Okay, consumer attracted products that have undesirable. Some people actually make it a hobby to buy those guns and ammunition, and then probably that ends up in misuse and creating a lot of problems for society. Yeah. So
illegal drugs.
Illegal drugs, yes, but then illegal drugs are generally not marketed openly. Maybe something. For example, I do not know how many of you this cough syrup and what it really does. Are you aware of this?
Yes, yes,
Yes. Yes, sir.
Sleep-inducing behavior that you get out of. Some of you may feel differently when you have this. So that's an undesirable consequences of a product which is meant for something else. So when you actually have a cough, you would require a cough syrup, but without having cough, if you want to derive some other kind of feeling by having that product, that's an unwholesome demand. So what I was trying to do is I tried to apprise you of the different kinds of states of demand, which you as a marketer need to know, so that you understand how do you really market based on the kind of demand which exists, right, in the marketplace. So, for example, in the first case that we talked about negative and non-existent demand, there's little that you can really do about, except that when you talk about non-existent demand, you may have to promote significantly. And typically, if you see Kellogg's, when they came in with their cornflakes in India, Indian consumers were not really open to having cornflakes, right? We all like our breakfast to be hot, right? Maybe chapatis or parathas or whatever. So or dosa or any other things that you really want, or milk, we want it hot, right? And Kellogg's was trying to talk about cold breakfast with cornflakes with cold milk and so on. So that was a concept which is very, very alien to the Indian culture. So this demand was non-existent, and over a period of time, a lot of communication, a lot of trying to educate customers, and then now people have started moving towards. And if you ask a child in terms of what do you like, so many of them would say, I like chocos, chocolate flavored cornflakes. But then if you really look at it, in India, still chocos is also served with hot milk, not really a cold milk. So this kind of combination that we try to do, we our own cultural whatever behavior that we have, we try to marry it to the another concept, and that's something new that we try to develop. So non-existent demand. So as a marketer, you need to understand at the different levels of demand that could help you in terms of designing your own marketing efforts. Okay, so now quickly let me tell you in terms of what does a really simple marketing system really looks like. It's of course on one side it's industry, and the other side is the market. So it's a collection of sellers and a collection of buyers. That's what a market really consists of. So collection of sellers is typically the industry, and collection of buyers typically the market is what we call it, right? And these are the different flows which are there. So from the industry, goods and services flow to the market, and from the market, money flows to the industry or to the sellers. And from the industry or to sellers, communication also goes to the market or the collection of buyers, which is ads, direct mail, and so on. These are the communication. And the market, they also collect information, or like sales data, customer attitude, so that they can refine their marketing efforts to meet the requirement of the market, right? Now, market can also be referred to as, again, needs market. For example, diet seeking. These days, people have become very, very health conscious. So there could be one market which only for health conscious buyers, or sustainable products. So many of us want to promote sustainable products. So Fab India could talk about a sustainable fabric and so on, or a diet seeking product. So I would look at low-fat diet and so on. So Kellogg's K that we talk about, it typically meant for slimming and all the stuff. So I can also define market in terms of the benefit which is being sought by the customers, or product market in the kind of products that consumers buy, for example, shoes, watches, and so on. We could have markets in terms of age, so demographics as a market, so infants, especially, for example, infant formula or infant diapers and so on. So those are market defined in terms of age of the customer. So infants is one category. I can have a teenage customers. I can have a old age customer. For example, if you look at some, say, health drinks. Now, health drinks, some of the health drinks are aimed at children. Now, if you see, Complan has typically been perceived by consumers as a drink meant for growing up children. So that's what Complan has been. But then if you look at Horlicks, was traditionally looked at as a product which is meant for older people, geriatric customers. But that now Horlicks is also trying to promote itself as a product which is meant for growing customers. So again, as a marketer, we can position your product. So we look at what positioning is. When you come to discuss about positioning, we can see how a product can be positioned, from one segment to another segment and so on. So I can define markets in terms of demographic market. I can also look at geographic market, so Indian market or European market or African market and so on. It could be youth market, voter market, donor market. So I can define market again in many other ways. Okay? Right. So again, if you look at the flows in the modern exchange economy, when you go into studying economics, macroeconomics, you'll study this circular economy, how money really flows in and how resources flow. So similar to that is here. So if you look at this, there are 5 distinct markets. So one is a government market, the second is resource market, consumer market, intermediate market, and manufacturers market. And then there are linkages here. For example, manufacturers would buy resources from the resource market. Resources could be in terms of material, labor, and money, right? And then manufacturer would then sell the goods and services to the intermediary market, and the intermediary market would then sell the goods and services to the consumer market, and so on. The government will provide services to the manufacturers in terms of the infrastructure and everything else, and then collect taxes or buy goods from manufacturer market, and so on. So typically, if you see, all these markets have some kind of two-way linkages, whether in terms of goods or services that are bought, or in terms of taxes, or in terms of money or resources and so on. So this is typically what happens. So for example, you are a marketer who who manufacture product. So for you, what would be important could be an intermediary market or a resource market or a government market. So these 3 markets are important. The resource market could be in terms of getting whatever you want to get. For example, the raw material that you buy. If you are a car manufacturer, the resource market could comprise of steel manufacturing companies, or tire manufacturing companies, or engine manufacturing companies, and so on. So you need to understand about them. And then you are going to sell it to your distributor, which is the intermediary market. So you sell your goods and services intermediary market with the distributor, and the distributor goes on to sell to the customer. You may also directly go to the customer market. So for example, if you are a Maruti and then you are selling to the, one could be the government. You can go to the government market and sell to the government agencies. You can also think about if you are a Toyota and you're selling customized cars, then you can directly go to the consumer market. Like Dell, it typically does it. A customer personally can configure the PC that he wants, and Dell ships it directly to customer. Dell can also sell it through the intermediate channel, through their resellers and so on. So in a modern marketplace, this is how it really operates. So there are so many linkages which are there among the different markets here. And then let us define some of these key customer markets. One is the consumer market, which is the end consumer who buys the product. Second is business market. third is global markets, and fourth is non-profit and government marketplace. Some of these things which are put in terms of what are the characteristics of each of these markets are given here. Just go through this and tell me if you understand all of them. Otherwise, I can skip to the next one. Or if you want an explanation, explain. We've got about 5 minutes left. Anybody who does not understand or want me to explain can please let me know.
It's clear, sir. No doubts.
It's clear?
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody who's not clear? Or any point that you want me to highlight? Don't be shy. I mean, that's okay. I mean, we all know each other. We are
last point.
Yeah.
Government marketplace.
Government marketplace, last one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, government purchasing policies are different from those in other markets because, see, government typically buys in bulk, right? So what it does is, government, anytime that it buys, it floats a tender. You may have heard recently, many of the tenders got cancelled where Chinese companies were pitching for business. Government cancelled those tenders, right? Now, government purchases always through tenders. What they do is they float their requirement and they expect suppliers to actually give a proposal. And then they look at many other aspects, technical aspects. Then price becomes a very important part. So government typically says that the lowest price bidder should get the business if he meets the technical requirement. And that's where many of the Chinese companies really came in and got this tender. They were awarded the tender. So when you talk, as a marketer, when you're selling to the government, these nuances are very important. So the moment you're talking about tender, you do not know what other people are quoting. So typically it happens is you have to submit a sealed tenders. It's under secrecy. You have to put your bid, and then at one point in time, all the bids are open and then compared. So you do not know what other people are going to quote. And for example, your quote is a little higher than others. There are chances that you're going to lose this business. So you must understand, these purchasing policies. We'll discuss in greater detail all these things later. So this is just a beginning. Anybody else? Any point you want me to really highlight? Yes. No. No.
No,
Okay.
sir.
No, sir.
Right. So,
No, sir, it's clear.
okay, I think we'll not have time to finish this. So I'll skip this part and I'll come back to day after tomorrow when I conduct the session. I will probably start from here, marketplace. I think there's only one slide left. But okay, since once I let me quickly take you through this. Okay, what is the marketplace? The marketplace is typically a physical place for exchange. All of us know that when you go out shopping, you go to a marketplace, which is a physical store where consumers come and shop. Now, today we are familiar with something called a market space, which is typically a digital exchange platform where all the exchanges happen digitally, which is internet shopping. There's something called a meta market, which is a concept which was introduced by a professor in Kellogg's, Northwestern University, Kellogg's Institute of Management. Now, Mohan Birsoni, he talked about meta market. He says that there are meta markets are comprised of a cluster of complementary products and services closely related in the minds of consumers, but spread across diverse set of industries. So an example is the automobile meta market may consist of many markets which across several industries. For example, of course, the automobile manufacturer is one part of it. New and used car dealers are also related to the automobile industry, but then financing companies, they're not really part of that industry, but they are part of the complementary products and services which is required for that particular industry. Financial companies or insurance companies or spare parts dealers or auto magazines, even auto magazines. So they all complement each other and they become a part of a meta market, a cluster of complementary products and services. So that's a automobile meta market. So you can think of any other meta market, so any industrial products meta market, and find out there could be many other set of industries which are closely related to that particular market and so on, right? So the last one is we'll talk about meta mediaries. So intermediaries which help consumers make a decision. So intermediaries offer, if you remember or recollect, we talked in the beginning of the session, I said I'll come back to magic bricks and when you're talking about intermediaries. So they are the ones which offer, again, a set of complementary products to you. So Magic Bricks would talk about, rentals or outright purchase or sale, or rentals, letting out, or, maybe taking on rent and so on. So there are complementary things that they really help. Magic Bricks may also facilitate, for example, if you're going for outright purchase, they may also facilitate bank loans and so on. So intermediaries would do all these things. So similarly, Make My Trip may offer, let's say, you can book your tickets, you can book your hotels, and many other things. So that's what this intermediary really does. It offers a set of complementary services and helps you make a decision. So, overall, in this particular session, we try to cover a few things in terms of what the scope of marketing we talked about. We looked at what the kind of needs, and then finally we talked about markets, marketplaces, and market spaces, some of the things that we tried to look at it. So I've got 2 assignments for you, and I will probably arrange to mail these to you separately, and I'll put this PPT up, and you can look it from there. So I'll put it up on the classroom, and you can go through this. So if you look at, so what you're expected to do is look at the 2011 census and other sources, identify a key demographic and market data for your states, whichever state that you belong to, look at that particular state, and then look at some of the data in terms of total population, gender, age-wise distribution. So the census data will give you all this: urban-rural divide, per capita income, key agriculture, industrial characteristics of the state, demand data for at least 2 products. If you are able to get that, please do that. And number of major companies operating in the state. I will tell you where we are going to use this. So as a preliminary information, just go and do some research and find out. So that will help you in understanding markets. So that's the whole purpose that I'm looking at. So for example, if you're going to sell 2-wheelers, so if you have predominantly, or so for example, you're selling tractors. Now, if your state is predominantly agricultural, there could be a huge market for tractors. But if your state is predominantly urban, for example, National Capital Territory, NCR, National Capital Region of Delhi, if you look at it, predominantly urban. So there, tractor sales could be low. But if you go to Haryana, per se, the state, there could be a lot of demand for tractors. So I wanted to look at 2 categories and see how, what could be the potential. So this will help you understanding, get some ideas about the potential of the state for a particular product and so on. And then last, you can look at number of major companies operating in the state and this thing. And second assignment is choose any brand of a specific product. So you look at Parle G biscuit or Lenskart, spectacle frames, Amul butter, etc., and try to identify the typical segment that these products try to reach out to. So you define who is a typical customer for each of these products. You may refer to the advertisement or any other information about them, and then try to select a product or brand that you have not purchased or used so far. If the ones that you're familiar with, you can always look at yourself to probably identify what the typical customer is, but look at something that you have not really used to it. So that brings us to the end of our presentation today. So let me go back to the classroom view. Can I quickly see all of you on the screen, please, for a moment? I think we are overshooting the time. We have another class coming in. Anyway, there are 4 articles which are posted out there. Please download those articles. The first 2 articles, maybe you can cover this week. There's one article on marketing myopia. We will discuss this when we take up a session that we are discussing marketing myopia. There's one article on customer value. Maybe next week we'll take it up, right? So this week, look at the first 2 articles, 1 and 1A. I think that the 2 articles which are there. And there's one more. I can't recollect which is the other one. So this is just for having improved knowledge about what marketing is all about, right? So what I'll do is I'll put up the PPT at the end of the session in a while, and then you can download it and look at the assignments, what is there. Day after tomorrow, if you can come and discuss, it's okay. Otherwise, we'll take it up next week. No problem. I'll give you more time for that, right? Right, thank you. Another class coming up right now. So see you again. Tomorrow I'll come with your business communication. So all of you, 60 to 90 second, prepare an introduction, good introduction of yourself, which talks about you in a little more detail than what we did today, right? So see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank
Sir,
you.
attendance.
Thank you, sir.
Another class now.
Thank you, sir. Sir, attendance.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir left.
Preetham was asking for attendance, right?
Yeah, we are supposed to have attendance.
Leni
You'll
asked
get
for
it.
attendance. They might be in that classroom. Look into that.
मैंने साथ में ले ली होगी.
Guys, next class कब है? अभी start होने वाला है.
5 मिनट बाद है ना.
टाइम हो गया उसका.
10:35 हो.
चलो फिर क्या देख रहे हैं एक दूसरे को. FRA की क्लास है ना.